complicated these, I mean, you're talking about heavy things.
Exactly.
So I think you really need like mechanical assistance for almost everything you do. This, maybe not this, but you're going to have to, whatever this hinge thing is going to get locked in place before you pivot this out. This thing, you know, like, this is fine as long as it's still attached. You could have the rollers here, but the problem is, obviously, it complicates closing the doors. You know, so you got to figure out that kind of stuff. I would model this for real, like, and figure that stuff out. I think you'll find that coming apart is a real pain in the butt. You know, to try to get that thing back in there, you know, without damaging stuff. I think. So it's difficult, and also I think conceptually it's just cooler if it's always one thing, you know, rather than some kind of puzzle. Then it's kind of transformativity, has a little bit more of a profundity about it. So it's always got all its parts all the time, and you're forced to understand. Like you might see something that, you know, like at one moment might be part of the kitchen that has now been pushed out of the way, but you still see it. It reminds you of this like other reality. Whereas if you just take it apart and you can put it on the other side of the lot, you lose that legibility that might add some interest and coolness to the thing that you're doing. In addition to just being more complicated, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we kind of like envisioned it as a sort of very simplified transformer that essentially is like, I mean, yeah, right. When a transformer transforms, all those pieces are still there. It doesn't lose anything. They just move, you know. And essentially,
you need something to power this mechanical stuff too. So you can figure out, you know, is this? Are you talking about hydraulic type systems for this, or is it, you know, pneumatic? You know, does it have a compressor? You know, where's all that mechanical stuff?
If you have a vent above the kitchen, it needs to either be retractable if you're going to travel with it, or it needs to just somehow be flush with the top.
That's the other thing, is this sort of, you know, how much are you adhering to the kind of intermodality of it? Like in normal situations, you never extend beyond the corner blocks. They define, you know, the absolute kind of limit, you know, of the thing. Not that you couldn't put one on a truck if it had something sticking out the side, but it no longer has the possibility of, say, like, you know, being shipped to Hong Kong for a special event or something like that. And so you probably need to have a position on, like, you know, how important that is. Because in a way, like, if you say it is important, even though it might not normally happen, for that possibility to still be maintained, then the rationale for using a container is much stronger. If you just, once you break that rule and you say it can only go on the back of a truck and it's only local transportation, that's completely legitimate. But it also makes you wonder, okay, well, why don't you just build the kind of thing that, you know, would do it better, you know? Because you are going to have to be adding enough extra structure that at a certain point, you know, whether or not you save $3,000 by buying the shipping container, it becomes inconsequential. Like, it's no longer a financial thing anymore, and so there has to be a conceptual reason for it. So you want to think about that. You know, like, what is it about the container that makes it really important for us to use the container? The thing about them is they can go by boat, truck, train. You know, I don't know that you need that, but maybe you say you need it, or you can figure out some reason why that would be cool. You know,
even that they're a city symbol because the city is a port city. I mean, it could be a gimmick, just like the steelhead downtown when they had the steelhead.
I mean, yeah, it'd be really cool if you could put this thing on a train from San Francisco area and go to Portland.
Festival in New Orleans.
Exactly. Totally. And that'd be a really kind of.
But then if you do that, then you can't do this.
Right. Totally.
Or you need some special permit. I'm not really sure, but it can't do it in the normal way that you would just load a container on the train.
I think that is kind of important to have. That is part of the essence of the container.
But you could try to figure out some version of this that didn't violate the corner blocks.
Right.
Or it could be more like a van door, you know, where somehow the rail is here, but there are linkages that allow the, you know, when you pull the door to come out, you know, or gets a little more complicated.
I think the point being, everything needs to go back to normal. You know, when after this thing, you know, kind of like deploys itself, it kind of, you know, it's this big, extravagant looking thing, and then everything goes back to normal, like a normal shipping container.
I think once we get it here and kind of get to look at it, we'll have a greater respect of what we can and can't do. Because right now we're designing it, but like we can go look at something, but you know, we can't like, play around with it.
We don't have our own.
And also, like those drawings, those simple drawings that you gave us, those line drawings, they're really very, very, very clear as to how very, very limited the material is that they use. Like they literally bare bones.
Yeah, this is a complete lie.
Yeah,
this makes you think.
Yeah, this
is inconsequential and this is inconsequential.
Exactly.
We were thinking about this is probably more structural as a frame than.
Yeah. So they're interesting, but I mean, it makes sense, right? Because like, why if I were building a gazillion of these and it cost me X amount to build them, why would I have something I didn't need?
And it's going to be maybe reused once across the room.
And it's interesting to think too, because we're so used to thinking about like post and beam construction, you know, or frames or whatever, but they're really like a bag or you know, a rectangular form made out of steel. So like I was telling these guys that like in a shipping scenario, once these things are loaded and you stack them, the doors are actually conveying part of the gravity load, so you can't open the doors while they're on the ship.
Yeah.
And that's really crazy, you know, when you think about it.
Because doors are always that thing that
Wait till you move these doors. They're heavy doors.
Yeah,
The, you know, big kind of upper arm strength just messing with the doors and the locks and stuff like that.
good workout.
It's cool, but I mean, they are not as generous as you think. You know, like I remember, like before, you know, I ever really did anything real with them. Like, you know, we tried to be real in the first project we did with these things. We never ended up building it, but.